All right, good morning all. Back to HQ. I want to get the pressure washer out this morning. Plus I had to come over here because we're going to work on the... What am I going to be working on? I'm going to be working on the truck. Putting the roll and lock thingy-majig on it. So I got a roll and lock bed cover. And I'm going to get set up here. You know, Michelle's driving all the football games and all that stuff. And sorry, the camera's gonna be a little fuzzy for a little bit as it acclimates to this insane humidity. Oh shoot, I'm kind of close here, aren't I? Hopefully not too close. This is the new fixed version of the Vyper Chair. But the GT4 needs cleaned up. So let's do our foaming. Probably don't even need to clean the wheels. I don't think I really drove in the rain much this week. I don't think I drove in the rain at all. It did sit out in the rain a little bit. But let's just clean the wheels. Gives me more time to talk to you. About what, I'm not sure, but we'll talk about something. So, it's, make sure I'm recording. GT4, I think is staying. What I didn't realize is these suckers are selling for 10, 20, 30,000 bucks over sticker. I almost sold it. I almost sold it at sticker. We'll see how we're doing. See what I'm up to come next year if I do get an allocation for the touring 911 touring GT3 touring. But I like this car a lot. Dare I say it might be my favorite car. It's certainly my favorite car to just jump in and drive. So it's I know this doesn't make sense, but if I were to have a daily driver, this would be it. Like if I had to drive every day somewhere specific outside of just screwing around here at the garage. So if I had a job somewhere, it would be I'd be driving this sucker. So I've been working a lot on, I decided in my garage, you know, a lot of it due to the fact that I'm probably about done with this house. But I decided in my garage at home to just stick with 2-channel. See, where I messed up with the audio in my garage at home is that I didn't factor in that I pre-wired it for, when we had the walls all torn apart, pre-wired it for stereo, but the darn countertop is 22, oh shoot. Guess you can't put that much product in this thing. Well, that's a lesson learned. So I filled it up to the top just to see how it would go. It's too much. It's brake buster in there. Non-diluted. That's what's so weird about all these sprayers is that what's the point? You can't even fill the darn thing up. So I feel like we really have made some serious strides this past week in getting the business moving toward the next step. I think, what do we have? We have 20-something people now, like 21 or some 22, something like that. And I think right now what we're doing is installing a ton of efficiencies. So that way it'll postpone me needing to hire a bunch of people. But my guess is a year from now, we'll have 50. not just to have people, but to continue to serve the subset of people that value what it is we're doing. And right now the biggest issue is supply. But I've been focused on, for instance, say, like pressure washer hoses. We're going to find a solution where supply will not be an issue again, because we're going to start manufacturing, and then when supply does become an issue, we'll be able to supply. We'll be sitting on the goods. But I don't know, we may have learned some lessons here in the entire world on what it means to be properly allocated in funds and inventory, things like that. So I've been spending a lot of time getting our facilities set up here. I keep hitting these bottlenecks where, right now we're waiting on the power. They have to bring out a new meter and put it in, so we're waiting on them, so that way we can get the third AC unit turned on, and then I can start working on the new garage. But what everybody's doing, it's so interesting that when I've said this many times, probably in Wash and Talks, as well as other videos, but when you need a service, say for instance, when you really need to hire somebody with a lot of expertise on warehousing and barcode scanning and picking and packing and just distribution in general, and there are plenty of people that have done that. But when you need the help, when you need the expertise, you don't have the revenue to justify it. And so you start out with pen and paper. First you start out with a yellow pad and you write orders down and you write products down. And then you transition into some sort of inventory system where you're at least you get some software installed, and then you transition into, well, how does my system calculate shipping? And so you start out with flat rate shipping or free shipping, and this is why most companies do free shipping, especially new companies, is because it's really hard to figure out how to spit out a reasonable shipping cost that's reasonably accurate. That's not a real simple thing to put together. But once you've done it, you're like, oh man, that's easy. Could have done that easily if I had known how to do it. And so when you need someone, I get hit up by people all the time. What's going on here? Hey, I don't know why. I've already done this. I know how to do this. I said, well, that's great. I've got $28,000 to pay. Like, oh, okay, never mind. Well, so we have to figure it out ourselves. That's just the way it goes. It's kind of like, I've used this analogy a lot. Like you need a financial advisor when you don't have any money, but you can't hire one because you don't have any money to hire one. And they're not interested in working for you because you don't have any money to pay them. And so you have to screw it up all the way to some sort of success. And then by the time you're ready for one, you don't need them because you've already figured it out yourself because you were forced to. And so that's kind of where we're at with with shipping, and we're just infants. Actually, now we're toddlers. We were infants, now we're toddlers, and we're working our way toward, becoming an adolescent. With a long-term goal to become pros. And so what will happen is, by the time our business matures to the point to where I'm a pro, and my people are pros, then you'll be able to hire the person that you needed to hire from the very get-go, right? And so I think this is oftentimes why a lot of companies get frickin' ruined, because they have to raise capital to speed up the process to then get ousted by their own investors. And then they lose the core of what the founder already knew. I was watching, this is one of my favorite movies of all time, probably because it resonates with me, but I was watching again last night, Michelle and I were watching The Intern with Anne Hathaway and what's his face? Not Al Pacino, the other guy. God dang it. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Where, she starts a company and that company explodes, grows really quickly to the point to where they raise a bunch of capital, and then they have all those venture capitalists, all these outside, which basically become her boss. And so then they want her to hire a CEO because they don't think that she's equipped to run the thing. And so the whole movie is about the angst and struggle of that conundrum. So I think certainly a very quick and great a path to wealth would be if you have an idea that is working, and that idea, or you have something like what I have, this passion for what it is we're doing here. If I had $100 million, I could make it move much faster. And I could make it move much faster if I stepped out of the way and let some other expert come in that's done it before, scale it, and then sell it, and then move on with my life. That would be the best way to get rich. But I don't want that. I'm rich in passion for what it is I'm doing. And if I had some quote experts come in, they're gonna mess it up. And I probably won't get as rich, it probably won't happen as quickly, and it may never happen. But if we shut her down today and just said, this is all the bigger we're gonna get, and this is all I'm gonna do, and this is the success we're going to achieve, I'd take it. In fact, I should probably cash that check right now and just take it and just stay with what I've got. How did I get on this subject? Oh, I was talking about how we're working on efficiencies at delivering the product or delivering the solutions that I'm making up. And how to deliver that. I don't know if I like this. I think it's scratching up my quick disconnect. I'd rather just keep it in the bucket. Surprised I don't do that more often. I think it's going to start to cool off a little bit. It's going to go from 95, 96 every day down to 92 for a little while. I feel like it's been so frickin' hot. So the people in the warehouse, I want to give them an opportunity to grow into what they're going to become, and let them take not only me in the business, but take themselves to the next level. And so we're working very diligently on making our transition from half paper and half digital to all digital. I'm excited about that. We're already super efficient, and I think that if we take and add in some technology, some technological efficiencies, we can really improve our speed at which orders are delivered. I mean, there's always going to be a labor component to it, but we improve our workflow, we can improve our speed and efficiency. Which means we can have less humans in the way, which means that there's more room to pay the humans that are here more, and create an actual career path for them. So that's what I've been thinking about a lot. And then on the YouTube side, I want to really improve upon the how I'm delivering like a video like this, still having you sitting here hanging out with me. But I envision long term having a set with jibs and booms and cranes, where I just come onto the set and the set is set up just like a dedicated wash bay, but we're able to make like amazing unscripted production. I think that's the key. I think produced to the point to where the audio and video is fantastic, but unscripted, so we retain the hang. The hang is the most important part, where we're just hanging out together. I don't want a freaking script, because that's annoying and boring and no fun for me. I like to just talk. It's part of the reason I'm doing this, is the therapy aspect of it. The business, the Obsessed Garage part of this is a result, is an incident of me using this camera as a therapeutic device. Yeah, this chair is, I think, a little less expensive. We're getting in an all black without red, with the hex on top. But actually, no, all black stitching. Yeah, no hex on this version of the chair. So I'm gonna wash this thing. I think I'm gonna drive the M3 this week. Sorry, I have to clarify now, the E92 M3. I should have the E36 done. I should have that done here, this week, should be on the road. We gotta do the clutch slaves, bleed the clutch, bleed the brakes. I have to put the bumper on, align the headlights, and get an alignment done. Once all that's done, I'll drive it around for a little bit, I don't even know if I'm going to drive around for a little bit. I might just send it out to have the have the interior done, and then I can just drive the car and enjoy it. Do little tweaks here and there. Mix this up. Remember, people, when you're foaming the car, let's see, are we blown out here? Yeah, we probably are. Just paint it. I've been saying this forever. Just paint the darn thing. You don't have to swoop around with it. Then it's pointless. You want to just take nice, and I usually go from bottom up. The point is to cover the car, not to just spray some soap on it. See how we got nice even coverage? That's what you want to do. All right, let me get my soap bucket ready. So, inside the hex, I'm telling you, you're gonna want to go be a member. It's starting to get really good. Or it's about to get really good. I just talked about in there about what my plan is for the for my living situation. So we knew this would be the case, and you, me, and everybody knew this, and I thought I was pretty transparent about it. But I ended up in the house I'm in because I listed my house for sale because I was under contract to buy a house on the lake, and of course that house didn't appraise, and so the guy pulled it off the market, and so I ended up having my house was sold, and so I bought the house in Harbor Hills as a backstop, and I've really enjoyed it. I like it. I like the simplicity of it. I like the risklessness of it. I like that it's something I don't really care all that much about, so I can kind of play with it and try things out. And the intent was to, live there for as long as I live there, and really put a time frame on it. And then either buy something really cool or move out. Dang it. Or build something. And this concept, this idea of destination OG, I'm looking, sometimes multiple times a day, looking in the Highlands. Found this other area called Arden, which is just south of Asheville. How did I get so freaking wet? I need to go up to Asheville. I've never been there. I've never been on that side. Been to Greenville many times, but not Asheville. And I think I need to go there and then see what it's like. But this house, part of my thought process has been, I'm going to do what I want because I'm going to be there for no matter what. I'm going to have to be there for several years unless I just happen to find some other house. And so the improvements that I've made have made it so that it would make a lot more sense to rent the thing out than it would be to sell it. Doesn't do you any good to sell a $400,000 or a $700,000 house for 400 grand. I'd probably sell it for 500, and I'm probably 600 into it at this point, you know, improving it. So I think I would rent it. And what I would do is just find someone who's really cool, and then you always run the risk of someone jacking it up, but I'd rent it out to somebody. And so my current plan, and I've started to gently work on this because I'm, you know, up to my eyeballs with the new business we're building, which I talk about inside the Hex. Actually, I have to talk about that this week more. Did I do the hood already? I think I did. Yeah, I did. The yarn building, getting that set up. We're on this project of, you know, making a specific video for each individual product in the store, which we're missing a bunch. Revamping, like I did a whole new bucket and bucket package video series for the OG Shorts channel. But, you know, my big project of the house is rounding out. I'll have the yarn building done in the next 3 or 4 months, probably. I'll have that set up, so we'll have our new photography unboxing studio done, which is a small little room, much like the house here. It's a testing grounds for what will be, you know, a real deal studio. We'll learn a lot from that. So that's the thing to keep in mind when I do stuff like spend money on building out the yarn building, even though I don't own the thing. A lot of it for me is about learning, the learning process. So the house, the Harbor Hills house, is a testing grounds for the next step, whatever that is. So I don't take it too seriously like I'm gonna live there forever. Just like I don't take my car so seriously like I'm gonna own it forever. I used to assume that on every car and everything I did. So this is a forever thing, and so I'd take too much value and apply too much emotional energy to it. And when, I don't know when it was, but when I came to the realization that part of the spice of life is that progress, that screw up. The screw up is a learning thing. The process is the journey, is where it's really at, not the end, not the destination of that permanent thing. I don't like permanent things. I like new stuff. So there is no permanence. This life isn't permanent. So why would our pursuits have a permanence to them? You know, like my job as a financial advisor, to me, that was my permanent path. That's where I was going to be. That's what I was going to do forever. When I realized it wasn't, it was a really difficult transition. I think there's some real value in the understanding that nothing is permanent. So we're going to, I already made the call. We really like where we're at here. Even though there's nothing special, there's no like special place that I know of. There's no like special lot that I would buy. You know, like house on the hill or something like that around here. So I think our path is to buy a lot next to, or maybe the 2 lots next to where where my last house was, which they're not for sale. Of course, I would argue everything's for sale. But I'm going to try to acquire at least one of those lots. I'm going to, I already called and left a message for Steve Blazek, who's the Build Show. He's the architect who works with Matt Reisinger on the Build Network, to see if he'd be interested in helping me design the house. And what I'm looking to do is, I think, build, I'm gonna need to help him keep me, he's gonna need to help me stay under control from a size perspective. Because I think I wanna stay, 5,000 square feet or so, but make it really dense and really usable. You don't need a lot of rooms. I want 4 bedrooms, so a master and 3 bedrooms. I want a really large, probably 800 square foot office. That office is going to be an office / home theater. I don't want a dedicated home theater, so I'll never use it. But I would use an office all day, every day. And that office needs to be close to the living space. I don't want to go off into a dungeon somewhere. I need a giant family room, no formal rooms, no wasted formal space. And I want 2 laundry rooms, 2 really large laundry rooms. One where you walk through, each one of them, where when you walk through the closet, you walk through the closet, so out of the bedroom, through the closet, and into the laundry room. So your clothes never go in your closet, back in your closet until they're clean. And then eventually, wouldn't it be awesome to have someone you hire that's like a laundry specialist, and their whole gig is to come and make sure that all laundry is done at all times? That'd be pretty sick. I want to build. I would like to build the kitchen. It's going to be awesome with. I don't think we'll have any real formal eating area. Maybe a table off the side of the kitchen, but even then, it's kind of pointless. You never use that, ever. That's where the island is so important. You sit at the island, you do everything at the island, the family goes on the island, everything's on the island. All right, I'm gonna dry it out here today. You know what? I'm gonna pull it in. But here's the magic of the house. There's going to be an attached, or both garages I want attached, so I can walk through the house, I can walk through my office to get to my big garage. I don't know how big I'm going to build the garage, because I think that I want to have the cars, most of them, here, or at whatever HQ is going to be in the future. So I'm going to want them so that, because we're going to get visitors all the time and stuff like that, so I'd rather the cars be here. And then they're available for video shoots and all that stuff. So all of my car storage and the permanence of the cars will be at HQ. And so that's why I'm thinking I build something really deep and wide, but I don't think I need to build like a 12-car garage at the house. And the other thing I don't really want is I don't want a giant lot. I want very minimalist, but very clean looking landscaping. And we're gonna build a pool. And so the garage the main attached garage will be the kids / Michelle's garage. And so she'll only have one car, and that one car I want to be able to pull through. So she pulls in and then pulls straight through. And then we have separate access for all the kids' crap, where it's all nice and organized. By the time I get this done, the kids won't have any crap anymore. But for all the sports gear, and then so you enter, so that area of the house will be theirs, where I can keep everything contained and organized. And the same person that's my laundry specialist will be the kids and mom specialist. Keep them organized, because they don't give a crap. You know, the person that winds the hose up, per se. I normally have a towel when I do this. I don't know why I'm not using a towel. So when they walk out of that garage, there'll be a mud room where they have lockers and things where they can keep things. All the shoes will go in the mud room, so the shoes don't go to the closets. All your shoes stay in the mud room, so they'll all be organized in there. And your closets and laundry rooms, they're all super accessible. I gotta run next door to get the stubby. I'm gonna dry the car off in here. Pull the E36 back in later, but I'm gonna pull the truck in and do the roll and lock. Get that done this later this morning, early afternoon. Get some ear protection, dry this thing off, and I'll continue telling you what I'm planning with the house. Okay, so stubbies, I think the guys took the photos of them, or this one, and I'd say we're probably soon. We should have it up in the store, but the only problem is that's going to create all kinds of problems because we're not getting them for a while. So, you're not really going to have a stubby, but you'll at least be able to lock your spot down, and it's going to be $60, so not a huge investment. You'll be out while you're waiting. I know I'd put $60 in. Shoot, I put $1,000 into the lifts for the garage for bicycles. I haven't heard anything about those. I wonder if that guy is still around. I know they were due in July. Hopefully, they didn't run off with the money. Interior cleaner, one of those wash. There it is. No more prototype. I think we're already sold out though. But the Obsessed Garage drying it. Why did I grab this? Colorless, odorless awesomeness. What's going on here? So you don't need to layer this on heavily. Just spritz it on and wipe it off. It's real nice. So, back to the house discussion. So, again, I want to have the garage for the kids and wife garage. So they're going to be hyper organized. There'll be organization processes put in place and developed. But the key is to keep their crap. And that's what put me over the top here recently. I was rolling their bikes through the living room onto the back porch because there's nowhere to frickin' put them. And that makes me want out. But remember, this is going to take a couple of years to get done. All right, first we have to find the land, and then we have to get the lot, and then who knows what will change between now and then. And who knows, it may be a postponed if I do find the Destination OG property. If I find something in the mountains or on the beach that I want to start Destination OG with. So We'll see. I have a sneaky suspicion that I tend to make things happen. It's kind of my thing. So we'll see. But the thought has begun. And you know what that means with me. Something's going to happen, and it usually happens pretty quickly. So the garage, you know, again, what I want to have, this is from the last few houses and learning, you know, and doing what I thought I wanted, kind of like I thought I was going to be a track guy. Like I thought that was my path. This is why, you know, people get so angry. And well, I've tried it. I've tested this idea, this concept, that I was going to be a weekend racer, you know, weekend track guy, you know, doing SCCA events and autocross events. And so when I was in my early 20s, I was just kind of afraid to do it and didn't know why. And I always had the excuse that, well, it's my only car. When I get a second car, then I'll get into it. And, you know, I don't want to race some stinky old piece of crap. It's just not, or dry, you know, I guess it's not racing if you're just doing HPD events, but you know what I mean? I would want something nice. And so I was kind of waiting, or at least that was my excuse. And then I finally got my S2000, my M3, and I took my M3 there, and I freaking hated it. And I went back, and I hated it even more. And then I was kind of distraught for a little while. I remember making a post on M3 posts saying, you know, here's the deal. I don't like this. And now I don't know what to do. Because I thought this was my car guy path. Of course, we all know I found my car guy path. You're looking at it. You know, shining the car with a diaper and playing with aftermarket parts that I have no business needing, but we all want. And so, of course, clearly I found my spot, found what I love doing. And it's the same thing with the house. You know, I built a dedicated theater because I thought that's what I always wanted. I got one, and I used it like 10 times. I just never wanted to go over there and isolate myself from the wife and kids and where all the action was at. And so I like being introverted, but I like the energy of people being around. I like it a lot when I don't have to be engaged. I can just eavesdrop. It's kind of like in college, like I didn't take notes. I just like to sit there and listen. I don't want to have to do what everybody else is doing, because that's what you're supposed to do. And so I want to have an office that's it's open and closable. Or I have this place where I can always be playing with new desk ideas and things like that, and tearing it apart, putting it back together, playing with new audio equipment all the time. So to make it really modular and capable, where I can take it apart, put it back together, try new speakers, try new amplifiers. And that's the dream. And so the office, so I'd have a dedicated seating area with a freaking awesome couch. I don't need seating for freaking 20, seating for 4, maybe. And that's where, because I'll still have a really cool basic home theater setup in the family room. Nice couch, proper height TV. None of this put it over the fireplace. There will be no fireplaces, none. No hint of a fireplace in this freaking house. The stupidest thing ever in any house, unless you live in Alaska. And then get some freaking heaters. Get a heat pump, geothermal heat, something else. I don't want that crap. So, I guess I'll be regretting that decision if the world ends. I'd love to give you some tips on how to use this, but you don't really need any. Just spray it on and wipe it off. That's the point. So that area, I need to somehow design it so that that home theater / office is close and accessible to the garage, which is also close and accessible to the main room where you spend all your time, which is the kitchen and family room area. And so I want them all to interconnect. And then you want the bedrooms isolated. So the isolation section of the house comes through the bedrooms. And so what I want is I want each bedroom, we talked about the concept of having, so each bedroom has its own dedicated, like, what do you call that, ensuite bathroom. I don't like it when the bathroom walks through to the closet, so I want the closets and the bathroom separated. And I want to have each bedroom has a landing room where, and this is where it's going to get tricky to not make this thing freaking a zillion square feet. I don't want to limit it, but I don't want it to be 12,000 square feet. I don't want it so big that it's impossible to take care of, and you end up hating it. And you're always looking to downsize and questioning whether you wanted all that. Let's see, how long have I had this car? I probably have about 6 months before I polish it, recoat it. I think about a year is what. And you start to accumulate some water spots and some little marring and scratching and stuff like that. That pipe dream of you having your car coated and have it look good for 5 years is freaking nonsense. Coating will still be there 5 years from now, but the contamination and defects will far outweigh the fact that water beads on the thing. So anyway, the bedrooms will be isolated, and so the main bulk of the house will be, and then I'll somehow make it so that that office is the office area is still very close-offable. So I can close the door. So I'm going to do I'll basically build a room inside of a room using hat channel and probably double stud walls that are staggered. And then obviously using specific acoustic, like Quiet Rock, green glue, all the tricks that you do to acoustically isolate. You do an acoustically isolated door. A big, heavy, solid door. There's several companies that make those for like recording studios and things like that I would use. And so have the ability to close it off. But the kitchen, pantry, family room, all of that stuff is out front and accessible. My office is part of that. The transition between the two garages and the mudroom as well will be like that. All together, all accessible, and then you'll have the privacy of the rooms, the bedrooms being off to somewhere else. And I think you can design it to where those are isolated. And then each bedroom will have a landing room where that becomes like the kids' homework and game room, whatever they're into. And it'll be modular in that their stages in life. Like right now, Kate's into doing crafts and art and stuff like that. Ryan is into playing Fortnite, but that will change. And the same thing with the guest room. The guest room will have a landing area. And so all 3 bedrooms will have that set up. 3 non-master bedrooms will have that set up. And then, like I said, I think the magic is in the closet. So each closets are done. They're done in wood, not in that melamine bull crap. So wooden cabinetry for the closets. And the closets then transition into the laundry room. And so somehow we'll set it up so those 3 bedrooms will all have a transition via the closet to a common laundry room that connects to those. And so that laundry room would have 2 entrances, one from the main hallway and then one from each bedroom. And so that would be pretty complicated to design as well, but I think very doable. And then the master, I don't really care about having, we don't care about having some giant master bedroom. In fact, that's where I'll keep square footage under control. You just need something like to shoot. The darn little cookie cutter house that I have now, that master bedroom is plenty appropriate, plenty big enough. And so, you know, lots of people, lots of houses, they build a giant master, but I don't spend any time in there at all, other than when you're, well, I mean, other than sleeping. I don't spend any active time in there, let's say. You spend half your life in there, but. And then we'll have, again, the kitchen pantry will be a full service, but open feeling pantry. I want the pantry to have windows in it. And likely windows out looking out over the pool, because that's where you're going to get your job, the work done. I want an Evo in the kitchen. I want amazing hidden ventilation, so I want the motors to be hidden, you know, in the attic, so we don't hear them. And then the house, we're going to employ all kinds of building science. We'll do, you know, I watch Matt Reisinger a lot. We'll do zip-R sheathing. I'll do, I think what I probably would do is the entire interior structure, all the interior walls will be rock wool, safe and sound, insulated. That's one of the things I learned in this house. Our last house was really well insulated from room to room. This house has none, so it's like an echo chamber. And so outside of the really sophisticated, you know, acoustic treatment we're going to do in the in my office theater, the acoustic treatments will be, you know, pretty basic, just, you know, safe and sound from room to room. And the exterior walls we're going to do, I love this concept, this idea of spray foam isoning or spray foam insulation, closed cell. Do a couple of inches of that, and then you do the remainder with rock wool. And the concept there would be to help make sure that you're somewhat future-proofed in that you don't have to worry about, you can still run wires in the future. You know, that'd be annoying where everything's locked down, sealed up, and then you can never run anything. It'll still be difficult with the rock wool, but at least you're not spray foam insulating the whole darn thing where it's locked down and you can never get access to it again. And so my garage on the house, the garage will be detached from the family garage. You know, the family garage will be in a separate, it'll be close, but separate location. Because again, I want the garages to come together to form a single entrance, a single mudroom. So I'll have to design that. I think I'd probably build something like 40 feet deep, probably like 40 by 60. So I guess that's 2,400 square feet. I think that's what seems to be a decent size. Well, an insane size, but seems like that's what I would want. And I think the garages become the area where where it can get a little tricky to make it all flow, you know, and not have like a freaking 1,000 hallways in the house. So that's where I need help, because every time I lay it out, I end up with these like 50-foot long weird hallways. And so that's why I need a real designer to help bring this all to light. And so the cool part about this is I'm going to share all this. The other cool part about this is Mike and I are going to build this ourselves. So we're going to owner build it, and we're going to sub out what needs to be subbed out. But we're going to video this and share this, and so this house will be a foray into more cool sharing and more things that we can develop, more products as we're building the garage and developing home products, and or not developing them, but marketing them, I guess you could say. And you know, making it a joint business slash life venture. I mean, I don't have business, I just have life. My life and business are one existence, they coexist. And so I don't know where this number comes from, but I think the house will probably be somewhere in the $2 to $2.5 million range. Maybe less, because we're gonna do a lot of the stuff ourselves. Not because I want to, but because you kind of have to get some things done right. And Mike can do anything. But I think when you own or build, you can only do, Mike was telling me, you can only do like a certain number of the, like one of the trades. But you know, I got Perry for the electrical, and I would make sure that we're doing, that Perry did it. So me, Mike, and Perry, we would do it together. And so that way we're able to really structure the wiring. I would do, you know, Cat 6 everywhere. I would, I'm not interested in distributed audio, so I probably wouldn't do other than the outside. And then the outside, again, I talked about I want minimalist landscaping, but very clean. But I'm going to do a, I'm going to do a pool that's pretty awesome. Mike grew up as, you know, his family owned a pool business, so we'll design and build some crazy pool. Extremely efficient. I'd like to do solar. So I think this endeavor could, that's going to turn me onto a lot of new cool stuff, which I'll be able to then impart and share with you and the world. And it'll be freaking fun as crap. And so all this learning I've been doing over the last 41 years of my life is all going to come together. I wonder if there's been a lot of long-term testing on these larger wing uprights. So I don't know. It's just starting to get a little wobbly. I can hear a little bit of vibrating inside the car, but it is nice and tight, so that's good. And so I hope that answers your concerns for my well-being, for my financial well-being, all of you that are gonna freak out about me wasting all this money. Money's just a game. Money doesn't matter. You need it. It's necessary. But it's just a, you know, it's just a means to cool stuff and a stress-free life. And so if you can find a way to chase it and get enough of it to meet your lifestyle, and then you can use the rest to do something with, make some sort of contribution. And I've been listening to Jordan Peterson a lot. The guy's just brilliant. I mean, it's so funny how politicized his comments have become, but yet he's very very articulate. It's one of those things where you're listening to someone that has spent his entire existence obsessed with thinking and observing. And so now he's like something, like 50 years old and 50-something years old, and now he's out lecturing and sharing that body of knowledge, sharing what he's learned on existential topics that are really existential related topics that are very complicated, very complex. Different social structures and things like that. It's just fascinating to listen to. And while I see everybody complaining and fighting, I think there's a lot of people like me that are just letting everybody waste their time doing that and chasing something cool, something great, whatever that is. This car's a little tricky, and then you have to kind of follow back up, and it's such a dark color that any little smear or anything, you can see it. All right, let's dress the tires. So yeah, for me, it's much less about the darn house and just more about the pursuit. And this house that I build, if I build it, when I build it, it won't be the forever house, because there really is no such thing. If that's what it ends up being, that's fine, but the likelihood of that is pretty slim. Corey's sending me some of the tire coating. Let's see what that's all about. I'll try it. Next week I should have my mounting and balancing machine up and running, so I'll have some videos on that. But yeah, I think the concept of having some mega garage at my house is less appealing. The only thing that is interesting would be if I do find myself collecting, which I doubt it. I don't know how long this E36, E46, 997 pursuit is going to last for me. For me, it's about the acquiring and about the pursuit, not the collecting. And I'm not saying collecting's bad. I would rather be a collector. I'd be a lot richer if I was a collector. For instance, all of my baseball cards and basketball cards and all the stuff I collected about 10 years ago were at my parents' house, and my mom was trying to pawn them off to me and get them out of her house. And so I had, somewhere in the order of 50,000 cards or something like that. But at the time, and even still today, a lot of them, because I grew up in the heyday of cards, and so say 80, 87 through 93, and then say that 90 to 93 era, where cards were mass produced and overproduced and overly available. But still, I had a lot of, early 80s stuff. And so that 50,000 cards is probably worth 150K today. And we took it out to the curb. I couldn't even give it to a card shop. I'm like, hey, do you want these? And at the time, 10 years ago, they were worth nothing. They weren't worth the paper they were printed on. They'd have been worth more if they were paper. And now, all these Jordans and Larry Birds and John Stockton and Mark McGuire's aren't worth that much, but the Ken Griffey Jr. stuff and Bo Jackson stuff is worth a frickin' $1 zillion and growing. So what are you gonna do? The Joe Montanas and all that crap that I had are worth quite a bit. At least 50 grand. So collecting is a much more profitable business. If I had collected rather than pursued cars, I'd have a lot more value in cars as well. But those are the breaks. Same thing with real estate. You have to be a bit of a collector to collect real estate, which I'm not any good at. Takes a patience that I'm not blessed with. All right, so we'll let the tire dressing set up. Let's do a quick vacuum. I think it's time that I do a glass wipe down on this too. Had a lot of GoPros on the window. Had to get myself a Milwaukee claw hammer because I didn't have one. And I need a new air filter for the crappy rigid vac. So for Ryan's football games, I bought, it's like, you know, it's summertime. I don't know why we don't play football in the winter time here, but apparently they start early, which is kind of dumb. But the football traveling, and then we sit at these games and it's a freaking billion degrees, and I've been threatening this for the last 5 years of getting a ridiculous tent, and I finally did it. Where I went shopping yesterday. I got some Arctic Cool towels to put around my neck, everybody's necks. I bought 4 different fans. All right, let's clean the windows real quickly. Put this in my pocket. So my window technique is ill-advised. Let's soak the thing down. Grab a fresh towel and go to town as much as you can. This is the secret to keep your windows from fogging up as well. It's to keep them clean. And then we take our remainder and we get it with our reach and clean tool from Stoners. I'll have to blow that out with some air. Okay, that's a wrap, folks. I'll see you, I don't know, soon. Certainly see you soon on the channel if you watch other videos, but see you soon on the Wash and Talk as well, I'm sure. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here on this journey. As always, stay tuned for more crazy. See you soon.